Welcome to this edition of The Explainer. Today, we are taking a really fascinating look at the very foundation of financial success in the United States. We're unpacking the blueprint of the American self-made millionaire. You know, if you've ever felt like wealth is this exclusive, locked club and you just don't have the password, well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to systematically dismantle the biggest myths about building wealth in America, and we'll reveal the actual data-backed blueprint that outlines exactly how everyday people achieve extraordinary financial independence.
So I want to ask you, have you ever wondered why some people become millionaires while others work incredibly hard their entire lives but never quite get there? It's a profound question, right? I mean, we all see it. There are folks who put in grueling hours, decade after decade, yet they continuously struggle to reach that millionaire milestone. And then there are others who seemingly just cross that finish line with quiet confidence, totally unburdened by financial stress. So what exactly separates them? Well, it is not always what you think.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the very first thing we have to do to understand wealth is to completely shatter the millionaire myth. When most people are asked how someone gets rich, they generally point to three things, right? They assume the person was born rich, they won the lottery, or they just got incredibly lucky. But our source text reveals a wildly different reality. Studies consistently show that around 80% of American millionaires are actually first-generation rich. No way, right? But it's true. They didn't inherit millions from their parents. They didn't hit the jackpot with a lucky ticket. Instead, they reached that status by following a very specific set of financial principles consistently for years.
Which brings us to Section 1, the income illusion, debunking salary myths. Becoming a millionaire absolutely does not require earning millions every year. I'm going to pause right there so you can really let that counterintuitive truth sink in. Because honestly, this is the biggest trap we fall into. We assume the person driving the flashy sports car with the massive executive paycheck, well, they must be the millionaire. But a high income is so often just an illusion of wealth. What frequently happens behind the scenes is lifestyle creep. As the paycheck grows, so does the spending on bigger houses, nicer clothes, expensive dinners. The money flowing in doesn't automatically mean money is actually staying in. So, if a massive salary isn't the secret, what is the reality? Well, the data points to the ordinary path. Many millionaires start exactly here, with ordinary jobs, ordinary incomes, and ordinary lives. In fact, comprehensive research frequently identifies everyday professions like teachers, accountants, and engineers among the top careers for millionaires. Honestly, this should be an incredibly reassuring thought. You don't have to be a tech founder or a Wall Street banker. What sets these everyday millionaires apart is entirely based on how they manage the money they make day in and out. Let's look at how they do it in Section 2, the core wealth habit, mindset to action.
So, the crucial point here is the millionaire method. Step 1, save and invest first. Step 2, spend what's left. It sounds incredibly simple, right? But contrast this with what the vast majority of people do. Most people spend their paycheck first on bills, lifestyle, looking good, and then they try to save whatever is left over at the end of the month, which, let's be real, is usually nothing. Millionaires flip that equation entirely. They take specific actions to automate their wealth building. Literally on payday, a set percentage of their income is instantly routed directly into an investment account before they even see it. Only then do they live on the remainder.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that saving and investing habit plays out over time in the tale of two earners. Imagine two people earning the exact same salary. The person on the left spends every single dollar trying to look rich, financing luxury goods they can barely afford, buying designer clothes that lose value the second the tags come off. But the person on the right, they utilize the millionaire method. They quietly and consistently automate a portion of every paycheck into compounding assets, like index funds, for 20 years. Consistent investing beats a flashy, spend-heavy lifestyle every single time, because those investments are continuously working in the background to multiply their money.
Now for the nuts and bolts. Section 3, assets over liabilities, the mechanics of wealth. Now, what's really interesting here is how this completely redefines wealth. Wealth is not about income, it is about ownership. We need to entirely strip away the idea that money coming in, your cash flow, makes you wealthy. It just doesn't. True wealth, the kind that self-made millionaires build, is defined strictly by what you actually own. It's about owning pieces of businesses through stocks, holding real estate, or acquiring assets that have inherent value and generate returns over time, all without requiring your daily physical labor. Let's see how this builds into practical application by answering a simple question. Where does the money go? On one side, we have assets, owning things that grow in value. These are specific wealth-building tools like low-cost index funds that capture long-term market appreciation, or real estate that builds equity over time. On the other side, we have liabilities, buying things that lose value. Think of expensive cars that depreciate the moment you drive them off the lot, excessive wardrobes, or high-interest credit card debt. The great secret is that millionaires rigorously focus their money on choosing and accumulating those growing assets, while the average person often tracks their money in depreciating liabilities.
So it all comes down to section 4, the true goal, being versus looking. Here it is, the absolute bottom line. The goal isn't to look rich, the goal is to become rich. Let that realization sit with you for a second. In a world completely driven by social media highlight reels and constant societal pressure to keep up with the neighbors, it is so incredibly tempting to project a lifestyle of wealth. But as our source material points out, those are two very different things. Looking rich is an illusion. It's built on spending your hard-earned money on liabilities just for the optics. Becoming rich is a quiet reality, and it's built on ownership, saving, and investing consistently. But that leaves us with one final massive question directly from our source text. If the true goal is to become rich through ownership and investing, rather than just looking rich, what is the single most powerful tool that has created more American millionaires than anything else? I'll leave you to ponder your own financial toolkit and the daily choices you make with your money. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep investing, and I'll catch you on the next one.